Hello, I think you can hear me now. Okay, so now you'll be able to hear me for sure. Thanks. Yeah, this is what happens when a retail investor decides to become a YouTube content creator. Thanks, guys, for your patience. This is not exactly professional, but yay. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Zubair. Thanks, Hot Dog. Okay, so I was saying that when we look at it as on a weekly time frame, those candles kind of make sense. It was definitely a dead cat bounce because in the morning we are seeing all these negatives, but the key is held by Nvidia, in my opinion. There are some critical levels below which if Nvidia goes, then we'll see the S&P 500 definitely going down. Otherwise, Nvidia can lead a rebound. We'll see which way it goes. But today, I want to draw your attention to the fact that what was being thought about silently is now being openly said. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says almost everyone he talks to is more anxious about the economy than any time in recent history. And he's talking about the tariff policy. And then we have Jim Cramer. He's also saying Trump's behavior has overshadowed US economic strength. And he points out that US economy is not that bad. and if it was handled properly, the communication was done properly, more certainty given, things could be handled a little better. I also think that if a more diplomatic approach was used and a more calibrated approach was used to even out all the economic disadvantage that Trump sees, it could have been better. But also we should know that economics dictates that as an economy keeps on growing, it goes to be more service sector heavy and more intellectual property heavy. And it becomes difficult to do manufacturing because you have regulations, you have pollution concerns and all of those things. And therefore it is cheaper to manufacture in lesser developed countries, and it enables the rest of the world also to develop and increase the standard of living. But anyway, it is what it is. We have Trump, the country has chosen Trump, and he told everyone that this is what he's going to do, and he's executing on it in his own style. People can't claim they didn't know this because Trump 1.0 was already experienced. So 2.0 is on steroids. We'll see what happens. But what I want to do with these two news articles is to emphasize that regardless of the technical analysis we do, we just have to be more reactive than predictive, because anything can happen in this economy. And then if you look at the economic calendar at 10 o'clock today, we may have a market changing number out here. If the numbers come bad, we can do a deep dive. And I'm very reluctant to believe guys like Kevin Hassett when they come on TV and talk about things that do not fit in my economic perspective. And Brian says defects happen when people have more money to spend. Also, Trump is not even measuring service sector trade flows. Really a shame. Yes, indeed, Brian. The thing is, we can lament, but it's not going to change. Nobody's hearing us. So the investors will have to respond, and they're responding by hammering the market. And also the bond vigilantes will come up sometime, and they're going to extract their vengeance. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Maybe better sense prevails and things start cooling down a little bit. But the rhetoric that we have here is very ugly, like dirty 15% to address countries like no countries want to be called shithole countries or dirty countries. So there is a lot of pride in many countries, like Canada, for example. I'm in Canada, and we have so much of national pride that when I go into my supermarkets, even the Florida orange juice, which was very iconic, is gone. We have local orange juice, which imports from Europe and other places. They're side-tracking US products. Our aisles are full of European and Canadian goods. So yeah, it's a matter of time. Now, without further ado, let's go and look at our futures, because that's why we are here. And let's say, yeah, BRICS plus Canada. Yeah, it's BRICS plus Canada. And then we have ES15, which is ES11, which is basically S&P 500 futures. And I have the daily chart out here, and you can see in the daily that we are disrespecting this line of resistance that we have here at 5639, which is a legitimate line of resistance in my opinion, because it's been able to cut us off in multiple points, but it's not being respected. Now, if we were to shift into a weekly time frame and look at the very same thing, you can see that we have stuck ourselves between a resistance of the 200-day, sorry, what is this? This is a 50-day exponential and this diagonal line of support from a previous bear channel. So we had caught ourselves up between these two, so it makes perfect sense. We have a doji candle, which is an indecision. If you can see this, I'm just going to recalibrate and try to make this big. It has got equal length wick on the top and on the bottom. So indecision is in place. April 2nd is a day of liberation. We'll see what happens then. And also today we are going to get economic data. Those can push us out of this indecision and move us upwards or move us downwards. It's very difficult to predict, but as I mentioned before, the bear flag indicates that once the breakdown has happened, it's going to go all the way up to 5156. That is the potential, and to steer us away from this potential, we need positive catalyst, or we need Trump to say something magical that turns the philosophy of all the investors and makes them buy and move it up. Same thing with the NASDAQ. You will see it's a very narrow doji candle here, and this is the candle for the 31st of March. You see the trading was very narrow. This is the weekly candle that we are looking at. Now if we go into the daily time frame and look at the same thing, it's less clear because we are violating this this support line that I have here. But at the same time, if you look at the action that happened yesterday, this particular action was not able to break out above 50% of the decline the day before. So to that extent, I wouldn't say that it is bullish. If we had gone at least above halfway of yesterday's candle, I would say that given the fact that we have a green candle, we have been a bit bullish, but I don't think of it that way because of the fact that we have not crossed the 50% there. Now, if I look at the candle that we are forming today, we have not been able to go above the peak of yesterday, and we have opened below where we closed yesterday. So to that extent, we are still bearish. And our support today is going to be 5583.25, and our resistance today is going to be at 5680.25. And of course, the economic data at 10:30 will decide what's going to happen. If you look at NASDAQ, our resistance is going to be today at around 19489.50 or 19,500, I would say. And our support is going to be at 19,238.25. Those are the two ranges within which I think we are likely to move. And if we happen to break this diagonal line of support, which I think it's a good possibility, we might then look at support at around 18,553.25. I'm just going to make this a little thicker so that people looking at it through iPhones can still see it. Dollar index is consolidating in a level. It's still below the 20-day exponential, and it's being held down there, and it's above the 9-day exponential. To that extent, it's a bit bullish because yesterday it was suppressed by the 9-day exponential. Today it's got a support from there. MACD is looking good. Momentum is also picking up. And if you look at the 10-day if you look at the 10-year yields, the 10-year yields continue to go down, indicating serious worry about the state of the economy. And let's go on to look at AI. And first thing I want to talk about is NVIDIA. Now, I would just like to briefly go into the weekly time frame to look at NVIDIA and then come back again. So if we look at the weekly time frame, remember we still have the rest of the week to go. We have a lot of support out here at 101.96, and our resistance at 109.34. Our resistance out here at 106.88 has been breached. But in the morning, we are seeing that in the pre-market, we are at 108.41. So I'll just go back into the daily. I can't see much difference in the weekly out here. So I'm just going to revert back. In the indices, it made sense. In the futures, it made sense. And if you look at the candle out here, this is the candle that we found for 31st of March. We are still in between the heavy sell zone, and we have this line of resistance out here, which happens to be at 107.05. We are above that in pre-market at 108.41. And for us, the resistance today is going to be at 109.49, failing which this diagonal line of resistance, which happens to be at around 111.47, is going to be active today. And at the bottom, the support is going to be at 102.18. So that's the range in which I think NVIDIA would move. If NVIDIA stock starts going upwards and starts to breach 109.56, then I think the S&P 500 will also move in the same direction, because NVIDIA is driving a whole lot of energy for the indices. Now let us look at Meta. Meta is down 0.55% in pre-market trades, and this is a candle that we formed yesterday, and the 200-day exponential was the one that kept pushing it down. We didn't even try to go to 581.20, which happened to be a line of resistance from the past. So to that extent, I think we were not bullish, but we still had a green candle because we opened with a gap down and we tried to close the gap. So to that extent, I think we did okay. but the 200-day is very active. So for today, what do I think? I think that the 200-day exponential is the first resistance, and the second resistance is going to be 581.20, and then we have the 9-day exponential, which is sitting at 596.40, which is the red line out here. So these are the three resistances that I can see, and the support is going to be this diagonal line of support that we have from a previous bear channel, and that is going to be sitting at around 551.83 for us today, and that is very close to this horizontal line of support at 549.77. So I would say 549.77 is a very strong support for today for Meta. The MACD is bearish, momentum is also below average. If you look at Google, I think Google is saying that we have reached a level of saturation. Google has sold as much as possible. I'd just like to take a quick segue to show you this price to earnings movement. On 31st of March, Google was at 19.41, and on 1st of April, it still remains at 19.41. So there is some kind of a heavy support out there. I think that dollar cost averaging for Google would be a good idea now, because for it to fall down further seems to be a bit difficult. So having said that, let's go back into Google and look at key resistance and support. The key resistance for today is going to be 158.17, and we have this diagonal line of resistance from before, which was at 154.92. and we are at 156.05. So I'm going to convert this into a support today, because in the pre-market we are at 156.08, and let us see this again once more, 154.92. Yeah, we are definitely above that. So that's one of our supports, and the second support for us is going to be 152.29. So these are the two supports that we have. And then we go to Amazon. Amazon is down below the line of support of 191.79. Yesterday we could not breach that level of resistance, so it became a resistance again. If you recollect, we had that as a support, 191.79 as a support when we finished the day before, and we opened up gap down when we started the live stream yesterday. Now we are back up again, but we couldn't quite convert that line of resistance into a support. Now we are below this diagonal line of resistance, so we have an additional resistance of this diagonal line of resistance, which is going to be at 191.55 for today, and this is going to be a very strong resistance because it is joined with the resistance at 118.79. I'm going to make this line a little thicker so that you can see. This also is going to be a bit thicker. So we have this conjunction out here. So I'll say 191.79 is a very tough resistance out here. If we are able to break up, that will be something great that could happen, but I think it's very highly unlikely. And our next support is at 184.17. I'm going to make this also a little thick so you can see it with the smaller devices. Hello Inf, thanks for joining us. Next I'm going to go on to Apple. So Apple is showing a little bit of strength. Yesterday's candle was amazing, but the 200-day and the 20-day kept pushing it down, but it definitely converted the 9-day exponential into a support. This morning we are still above the 9-day exponential, so the 9-day exponential is the first line of support, and the first resistance is the 20-day exponential, which is sitting at around 223.30, and the next resistance is from the 200-day exponential, which is sitting at 224.29. Our support is going to be this minor line of support, which is sitting at 218.27. I'm going to make this a little thicker. I'm going to color it green to show that it's a support. And then the next support for us today is going to be at 215.74. I think Apple is likely to come down and test this minor line of support and also this diagonal line of support today. MACD is bullish. Momentum is also moving in the right direction. But the pre-market action is negative. Microsoft is the next stock I want to talk about. It's down 0.46 in pre-market action, but yesterday after opening as a gap down, opening right on top of this diagonal line of resistance, it has managed to convert this diagonal line of resistance into a diagonal line of support. So we have support today at 371.95. Right now we are at 373.67, and we have a resistance which is at 380.20. Guys, I'm going to make it a bit thicker so that you can see it clearly in smaller devices. So that said, the MACD is fading and the momentum is also dropping. Microsoft is on its way down. And then we have Tesla, of course. Tesla is up 1.67 again this morning. It has been extremely well. I don't know what is moving Tesla upwards, because the promise of robotics and also the promise of self-driving robot taxis, all of those things seem to be something in the future. Right now, here and now, the most of the revenue for Tesla is coming from EVs. And in EVs, BYD is eating Tesla's lunch. And there is a lot of negative publicity. Even Elon Musk himself has admitted that his activities with Doge is pushing the Tesla prices down. So I'm thinking that I wouldn't trust the price action here. Personally, I'm staying away from Tesla. For trading in stocks, we need to keep emotions away. When it comes to Tesla, I'm not able to keep my emotions away, so I'm going to stay away from Tesla. But for those who are interested, I would say that it's purely a momentum that's happening. So if you're going to be very alert, you could probably ride this momentum. I, for one, am not very sure how it's going, because psychologically, I don't like Tesla because of all the things that Elon Musk is doing, and therefore I'm most likely to make a mistake and end up with a lot of losses. Next, I look at Oracle. Oracle is on the bear channel. It's continuing to go down. Yesterday, it had a bullish candle, but still managed to close down below the previous day's close. So it's still very bearish. And AMD is down 0.48% this morning in pre-market trades. Yesterday, it created a bullish candle, but was not able to breach the previous day's closing. And therefore, even though the candle is green, the action was bearish. And this morning, we are opening below yesterday's closing. So it's looking a little bit weak. And the resistance for it today is going to be 103.54. And the support for it today is going to be 95.93. So that's what we have there. SMCI is very interesting. It has it closed below the support we had of 34.68. I'm going to make this again a little thicker for smaller screens. And we have the opening today in the pre-market, which is slightly positive. It's up 0.15. It's at 34.29, but it is still below this line of support from yesterday. So I'm going to mark this line of support as a line of resistance for today. And today our resistance is going to be 34.75. That is the first level of resistance that I see. The second level of resistance is the 9-day exponential sitting at 37.24. And I think for our support, I would try to do a minor line of support out here. I'd put a placeholder support out here. It's not perfect, but it's going to be a rectangle. I'll work it out after I finish the live stream. It's going to be an area of support out here, but the top of that area is somewhere around 31.04. That will be the support for today for SMCI. If NVIDIA moves, SMCI will move up. So we have to look out there. AVGO is again down 0.29% this morning after having a bullish candle yesterday and failing to breach the previous day's close. And our resistance is still going to be out here at, I'm going to look at this and say it's 169.79. That's the resistance that we have. And our support is most likely going to be out here at the bottom. And this happens to be at, let us say, 159.59. This is the 2 range for Broadcom. Palantir, again, is a high multiple stock. I'm just going to remove this potential cup and handle thing. It's going down, and it converted this line of resistance at 83.68 into a line of support, and this continues to be a line of support in pre-market action because we are still at 83.97, which is above this line. So our first support for today is going to be 83.68. The next support for today is going to be 73.64. When it comes to resistance, I think our resistance today is going to be 93.87. So that's the range in which I think Palantir will move. And if Palantir was extra strong today, then I think the next level of resistance is going to be 101.40. I'll just make this line a little thick for smaller devices. And then we go to SMH. Oh, I think I called SMCIS SMH. I think I made a mistake there. Okay, I'm going on to SMH. And in SMH, I think that we are looking at a drop of 0.51 in pre-market action. We were not able to breach yesterday's close. So to that extent, even though the candle is green, it's a bear candle. And I would say that our resistance today is going to be, let's draw this line here. I'll start with the support first. We have a support out here, which is going to be at 201.22. And I think in terms of resistance, the real resistance is the 9-day exponential, which is sitting at 219.58. And if I was to look at the next resistance, which is closest out here, I can't find any clear resistance out here. So I would say that our support is the one that I can talk confidently of. It's 201.22, and the resistance that I can confidently talk about is 219.88. Unfortunately, it's a very long range, but that's the best I can do. And then let's go and look at Tempus, which Hot Dog is looking at. I think we have this diagonal line of resistance being converted into a support yesterday. So this is going to be our support today. So the support for Tempus is 45.52, and the resistance for Tempus is going to be the 9-day exponential, 20-day exponential, and the 100-day exponential. These are all sitting in the range of 52.22 and 50.85. That's the range in which they are. So that's going to be the resistance. So that said, CELH continues to do strong. It created a new support yesterday at, I would say the new support happens to be at 35.24. So that's the support for today, and the resistance continues to be the 200-day exponential. But in pre-market action, we have breached the 200-day exponential and gone across to 36.75. So the next resistance for us is going to be here, and this is 41.59. So I think Hot Dog is probably on a winning streak out here. And yeah, so that's what I have here, my friends. So this live stream has been a bit nerve-wracking. Sometimes yesterday when I closed the live stream, I found my background screen was there on the display. So I was very afraid that throughout my session, I was probably talking with a background screen instead of the TradingView platform. So I had to rush back and have a look at the video. But everything was all right, fortunately. So if anything like that happens, guys, just put a comment out there saying that, Raj, we can't see the TradingView screen that you're talking about, and it will be very helpful. So apart from those jitters, I'm starting to feel better about this live stream. It's been a very nervous ride for me since I started the live stream, and especially the way I'm doing it with myself being seen on the screen. I'm trying to improve it much better because out here, guys, we are here to have fun, and we are not here to sell anything. So I would never be selling you any stuff. We just want you to be here and see how a retail investor thinks. I wanted to see some other retail investor thinking and learn from that, but I couldn't find that on YouTube. So I created this channel where I can tell you how I think. I may have egg on my face from time to time because I might be wrong, but I'm giving you the real thoughts that I have. I'm not afraid to be wrong. And I would like you guys also to give me your feedback so that I can get some benefit out here, and we can create a retail community which is, helping each other out. I had Hot Dog talk about Tempus and CELH. Out of this, CELH is something that I'm going to look at. And in the past, I made some money out of a Chinese stock. And yeah, I sold it out in time because I'm not very familiar with China and the Asian stock out there, except for India. So if anybody is interested in some Indian stocks or something, I could do that on the side, because we have a lot of a reasonable amount of people from India also watching. But for China, I don't have the knowledge, so I sold off JD.com after taking some profits. But if I was able to get some information from there, we would try to do a little bit of addition out here. So thanks, guys, for sparing your morning and coming in here and giving me the support. So thanks also to Hot Dog and In for tuning in from his vacation in India, and to Zubair as well as Brian. Thank you, guys, and I'll catch up with you again tomorrow, unless you have any tickers that you want me to talk about. we can do a quick technical analysis of any ticker that you're interested in. And also going forward, I'm going to give you my thinking on each of these technical chart patterns and other things that I have here. I will tell you how I learned about that, because I've been watching other YouTube technical analysts, and I'm also looking at how those chart patterns fared going forward. And then I developed confidence on some of those patterns, like the cup and handle pattern and head and shoulder pattern and those kind of things. So I'll also explain that, so that you yourself can also learn those things and do technical analysis on tickers of your own choice. And then when we come here, we'll be having really good discussions, and maybe we all become better retail investors and create a community here where we can play on certain stocks and have a lot of fun. So with that, my friends, I'd like to end this live stream here. Please put a like out there if you like this channel. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and help us grow this channel. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.